No, Ray, he's not my QB1, but I look at it from a predictive standpoint, and for months, his name has been ringing from the NFL and scouts and NFL media and personnel, and just hearing the love that they have for him, right?
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Ray G here, joined by my man Damian Parson at DP_NFL on Twitter for another edition of Mock the Mock over here on the Draft Network YouTube channel. So if it's your first time tapping in, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, like the content. That way, every time we drop dope stuff over here on the Draft Network, you get alerted right to your phone. And if you want to check out DP's entire mock, he's giving you 64 picks, round 1 and round 2. Link is in the description, because all we're going to talk about, some of the offensive players, talk about those fits. All of you fantasy football junkies out here, that's what you want to see, even though we know the interior, the trenches is where it's really made. But all we want to talk about is the offensive skill position players. So DP, this is 4.0 for you, man. And as we get to this mock, I'm going to challenge you with a couple of these players. So let's just kick it off real quick, DP. At the top of this, you've got the Houston Texans selecting Will Levis, the quarterback out of Kentucky. Talk to me. This is your quarterback one. Is this why you selected Will Levis for Houston? Where we at, man?
No, Ray, he's not my QB1, but I look at it from a predictive standpoint, and for months, his name has been ringing from the NFL and scouts and NFL media and personnel, and just hearing the love that they have for him, right? The traits that he has: 6'4", legit 235, 240, if at worst 4'6" type of athlete that can open and expand the playbook. So for me, I think at Houston, I was like, man, I've heard that this kid can go one, and I've heard it multiple times from a lot of verifiable sources, man, verified sources that I trust. And I'm like, at the same time, even though he's not my QB1, Ray, I could see it, right? He has the traits that we look for when we talk about trucks or trailers. And for those who don't know, a truck can haul things, right? You can hitch a wagon to it, you can hitch whatever to it, and it can pull it along. A trailer needs the team to do more of the things to help pull it or pull him along. And Will Levis is one of those guys that absolutely has a traits to be a actual truck. And that's why, for me, I was like, all right, all the buzz. We don't even know if we're going to see him at the Senior Bowl because of where his stock may be right now, despite how he played, right?
And let me just ask you, do you think that maybe some of the thinking behind the NFL, potentially, because I'm hearing it too, that he could be the QB1 off of the board. Do you think that you look at Houston, offensive line isn't that good, and we know Bryce Young is a baller, DP, no one's debating that, but do you think a team could say, you know what, I just want the bigger guy. I want the 6'3", 230 pounds. I know the line isn't that good. We'll continue to build around him, but I need a bigger body if I'm selecting a quarterback number 1 overall. I just need a bigger. Do you think that could factor into why Will Levis could potentially be the QB1 off of the board?
100%. 100%, man, because you think about, okay, you don't have to worry about the seeing over the line issue. You don't have to worry about can he take the hits in the NFL if he's standing in the pocket and that backside tackle, you know what I'm saying? Like he's reading one side and the backside tackle gives up a quick pressure and he takes a clean shot. I'm not going to lie, Ray, his frame does concern me. I do worry if Bryce can hold up to the physicality of the NFL at the same time. And I know he's a baller, so I think that does play a part. The teams look at Will Levis like, man, I feel like that frame is be able to take some hits as well as deliver some when you think about the QB power, zone read, and QB veer and different things like that.
Well, you've got 4 quarterbacks coming off of the board within the first 12 picks of your mock. Bryce Young went 6 overall to the Carolina Panthers. We talked about him as a baller, probably a new coach, probably not going to be Steve Wilkes. Bryce Young to Carolina, I'm fine with it, DP. We also have C.J. Stroud coming off of the board at number 12 overall to the Las Vegas Raiders. I don't know what's going to happen with Derek Carr. He shows flashes at times. Honestly, I don't know what my Las Vegas Raiders are doing in general, and there is a lot of smoke about them wanting to potentially move on for Derek Carr. But DP, the quarterback that I want to spend a little bit of time talking about, at 9 overall, you have the Indianapolis Colts selecting Anthony Richardson, the quarterback out of Florida. Now, DP, you and I have talked about Anthony Richardson quite a bit from the summer, some of last season, throughout this season. And I challenged, a lot of people. I talked about it today on my show. If I'm looking 3-4 years down the line, DP, And I'm looking at all these quarterbacks and I'm saying, which guy would I want to hitch my wagon to being an elite difference maker, a player that can erase, that if the X's and O's break down, he can still make plays? Anthony Richardson is that guy for me. And I'm sitting here today, DP, and I'm thinking, this dude might be my quarterback one when it's all said and done. So the selection to A-Rich to Indy, talk to me why you selected Anthony Richardson over C.J. Stroud to the Indianapolis Colts.
I'm gonna tell you. So, of course, as we've talked about, like you said, numerous times, you look at 6'4", 235, 240. We're hearing 4'4" at worst in the 40 for this kid, right? Big, physical, has a rocket for an arm. He has all the traits of Will Levis, but I think that his traits are even a step further or a step higher than Levis's, right? But at the same time, when we watch the tape, we watch him not just have the Superman traits. He was Superman against Tennessee, over 500 total yards of offense, right? And you think about what he was playing with at Florida. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't believe any of those skill positions players besides Ricky Pearsall, who's I think is probably a day 3 type of guy, are going to be drafted. And it's like, all right, the O-line did well, the run game did well, and he was really good off of the play action pass. And it was like, well, Indianapolis has a really talented running back in Jonathan Taylor, who's been banged up this year. But you bring in Anthony Richardson for one, that changes the math, right? Because Jonathan Taylor's played with what? Matt Ryan, Carson Wentz, and what? Phillip Rivers or something like that.
Sam
He was
Ellinger.
cut
Don't
for
forget
early.
Sam Ellinger. Don't forget
So yeah,
Sam Ellinger.
Sam Ellinger, yeah, like it's you think about what Anthony Richardson can do for him and making his job easier. And then I love the fit of A. Rich and his downfield passing ability, throwing to Alec Pierce, right? 4'3" guy, 6'4", can go up and attack above the rim. And then, of course, Michael Pittman Jr., and if they can keep Paris Campbell healthy, and then Jelani Woods as the tight end position. He actually has a talented, kind of freakish guy at the tight end position. All these weapons he didn't have at Florida, and he still was able to show growth. So for me, I love what he's shown throughout this season, and I feel like even if they were to hold on to, or bring in a veteran and have him sit for a year, I always say, man, what Alex Smith did for Patrick Mahomes, you can't put a value on that, right? If you can find a guy that can come in and help speed up the process for your young quarterback. I know a lot of people like he's raw and everything. Ray, I'm gonna be honest, he doesn't have all the reps and experience, but he's not as raw as people think. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, like yes, he's a 1-year starter, but we've seen way worse quarterbacks who've thrown 800 college passes come into the league and done absolutely nothing.
Yep.
So like at the end of the day, it's just about being patient with him and building around him.
Well, here's the thing, DP. I believe Trey Lance was essentially a 1-year starter at North Dakota State, and I get it. He won a national championship, set all these records, but Mac Jones, 1-year starter at Alabama. So I don't want to hear people. I think the criticisms of him right now are so unfair, and it's easy to hitch onto that right now. But watch what happens once the NFL Combine rolls around and he lights that up, and then the Pro Day rolls around and then he lights that up, and all the buzz about him being a first-round pick. I bet you a lot of people will be deleting Anthony Richardson tweets here in the next couple of months. Now let's move down your mock, because I do believe that Quentin Johnston is your current wide receiver one. Am I accurate in that assessment, DP?
Yes, sir, you are.
And you have him going number 13 overall to the Houston Texans. And I'll just say, whether it's Quentin Richardson, Jordan Addison, whomever it is, pairing your young quarterback that Houston's going to take number 1 overall with a dynamic wide receiver, I think that's a good bet. DP, I'm not going to mock you here. I think this is a very good selection for the Houston Texans, keeping Quentin Johnston in state. Now, a wide receiver that I want to spend a brief second talking about, because I'm loving this kid, and the fact that Kayshon Boutte decided to go back to college, this just gives another wide receiver a chance to move up. Rashee Rice out of SMU, going to the Los Angeles Chargers, pairing them up with Justin Herbert. DP, really quickly, give me what people should be expecting if this were to come to fruition. Rashee Rice to the Chargers.
Man, Rashee Rice to the Chargers gives Justin Herbert another weapon to throw the ball deep to. He's a 3-level receiver, has a nice build, catch radius, good ball skills and body control, and he runs pretty good routes as well, man. And like I said, at the end of the day, he was at SMU, and he was the lead guy. He was dogging every defense he faced this year for the most part. So you look at the overall tools and talent, you have a 3-level receiver that can eventually take over, especially with all the injuries that Keenan Allen deals with, as well as Mike Williams.
Mike Williams. Yep. Jordan Addison at 17 overall to the New England Patriots. Uh, I think if we're being realistic, next year it's Mac Jones has shown that he's competent at times, and sometimes he's looked like he doesn't belong under center at all. But what I will say is Matt Patricia at OC does not help at all. Devontae
No.
Parker, Nelson Aguilar don't help at all. So adding a player like Jordan Addison, year 3, I need Mac. Are you the guy or not? We'll give you Jordan
Right.
Addison. Hopefully, New England. Listen, you just are mocking players. You have nothing to do with offensive personnel. Hopefully, they'll get somebody there that can call better plays and scheme things to Mac's strengths. But I do like the selection of Jordan Addison to the New England Patriots at 17. At 20, you have the Seattle Seahawks, giving Geno Smith another weapon in Michael Mayer. Say what you want about Mayer's athleticism. There's no doubt about it. In my opinion, he is the best tight end in this class. He can block, he can catch, he uses his body position well. Very good tight end, DP. But I want to talk to you about this pick at 25. The Denver Broncos, you have them selecting Ohio State wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. Really quickly, is it Russ? Is it Hackett? Is it the line? Do they really need a wide receiver here at 25?
Yeah, they do. It's a combination of all those things that you talked about, right? Like Russ hasn't been good consistently, but then the things around him haven't been. Jerry Judy's battled some injuries. Cortland Sutton is a number 2. At best, he's not a number 1
No.
receiver. Nathaniel Hackett, they got to make the change. Like even after 1 year, I don't care. I'm not being patient with this. Get this man out of town, right? So it's like I think about the fact that KJ Hamler can't stay healthy. So it's like then you got Kendall Hinton who played quarterback during the COVID
Yeah.
year for you in the game. No, like that. Like at the end of the day, if you pay Russ all the money, you got to get weapons. I think Jackson Smith-Njigba, Jerry Judy can be those 2 like just quick hitting receivers that can get open, run precise routes, good ball skills that can really help lift him up. And maybe you look at getting another deep threat to really help take Russ and this offense to another level next year.
All right, DP, at 26, you had the Baltimore Ravens selecting Kayshon Boutte, wide receiver out of LSU. Of course, you did this mock prior to him declaring for the NFL draft. So just based on how the board has fallen, what receiver would you bump up to the rate? Like, is there another receiver? I know you've got Josh Downs a little bit later. I see Jalen Hyatt, Xavier Hutchinson. Is there another, Zay Flowers? Is there another receiver that you could think of off the top that would slot into Baltimore, or would this be a spot where Baltimore would bypass those receivers and go in a different direction?
Yeah, I wouldn't feel for Baltimore because you have Devin Duvernay, James Prochet.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of size at the position, and I would prefer to give Lamar Jackson, besides with Rashad Bateman, another bigger target at the
Mm-hmm.
receiver position. So I'll probably if I knew this ahead of time, I'll probably just go corner because they
Okay.
need some corner help as well and depth when it turns out to use. So I think corner would be the position
Okay.
I would have went with.
And then maybe address wide receiver in the second round or the third round. All right, that sounds
Yes,
good.
sir.
That's fair. Let's go down the rest of your first round, and you do have another receiver off of the board, and this is a sneaky good pick, man. Josh Downs, wide receiver out of North Carolina. TJ Hawkinson is there. We know they got a tight end upgrade. Listen, Justin Jefferson is him. Adam Thielen, at this point in his career, he's been awesome. Like to come from where he came from to what he's become, phenomenal story, but they need to get another weapon out there. I like the pick of Josh Downs to the Minnesota Vikings. But this is fun because we get some second round picks to talk about. So we'll kind of go rapid fire through these. You've got the Los Angeles Rams who, DP, this team needs a lot of help everywhere. But you have them selecting the speedster out of Tennessee, Jalen Hyatt. What do you think about Hyatt to the Rams? And I don't know who's going to be throwing him the ball, but Hyatt to the Rams. Just talk about that one real quick.
Man, if it's Matthew Stafford, I'm all over it, right? Like, as you got Matthew Stafford, you have Cooper Kupp. They'll get the offensive line will be healthy next year, something that they aren't right now. And you think about a healthy old line, be able to run the ball, play action, he'll be able to take those shots downfield. Cooper Kupp is going to command that attention, right? But ever since they lost OBJ Ray, they lost that big explosive play outside of what Cooper Kupp can do after the catch. So I think Jalen Hyatt, you give him one-on-one, off coverage, he's going to burn some people.
At 38, you have the Jacksonville Jaguars adding more. This is the thing. Say what you want about Trevor Lawrence. I think that during the draft process, people were way out over their skis with him being the best quarterback prospect that we've ever seen, right? We could look back and say, probably not true. Good quarterback
Right.
prospect. He's the thing I love about T. Law is he continues to battle. He gets beat up every single week, and the dude just keeps getting up. I thought he tore his knee up on Sunday, and he came right
Me
back out of
too.
the locker room. But you have them adding another receiver, just giving them weapons, right? Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk. Now you add a dynamic to this offense that they don't have a big-bodied wide receiver like Xavier Hutchinson out of Iowa State. I think this would be a sneaky good fit, DP. A lot of people haven't really seen Xavier Hutchinson from Iowa State, but he catches everything in his vicinity. He's a big body wide receiver, and I like that pick for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You've got the Carolina Panthers selecting Darnell Washington, the big tight end out of Georgia. I mean, he kind of can do a little bit of everything. He can block, he can catch. I want to see his athleticism, DP. I want to see it. Like, I'm watching him, and I think he's athletic, but sometimes he just looks a little lumbering, and maybe it's because he's
Yeah.
6'7", 270 pounds, right? But you've got the Carolina Panthers selecting Bryce Young. Get him a tight end, someone that can help solidify some of the blocking and a big target for a smaller quarterback in Bryce Young. I think that was a really, really savvy pairing that you have. But we got to spend a second talking about Zay Flowers because I love him. I love Zay Flowers. You got Zay Flowers going 45 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Listen, DP, they got Deontay. They got George Pickens. They really need Zay Flowers.
Yes, yes, and they do. And you trade Chase Claypool, Calvin Austin, who's on IR right now. Hopefully, you get that dynamic, receiver back at this coming off season, get him healthy. But you look at they signed Deontay Johnson like what, a short term deal, like a
Yeah,
2-year deal. So it's like all right, and then he still has like some ball security issues, whether it's drops, fumbles at the ill timed fumbles and different things like that. Tremendous route runner and receiver, but he's got to protect the football and hold on to it. Zay Flowers, man, explosive, dynamic. He can play outside, inside. You can give him the manufactured touches and just do. My opinion, do whatever you can to get the best out of Kenny Pickett. I don't believe his skill set is a transcendent skill set that's going to get better. Like, he'll get better mentally, but physically, because he's already 24, he'll be 25 next year. His physical profile will begin to diminish as he gets older. But give him weapons that can make his life a lot easier.
there it is. That's the Mac Jones argument, right? At least he's not going to be able to throw you to win games, so put some players around him to help him out. At 52, you have the Tennessee Titans selecting Tennessee wide receiver Cedric Tillman. And I'll just say, did you know that Tennessee dressed 3 wide receivers last week? 3, DP, 3. I love Robert Woods. He's been an awesome player, but he's got less time in the game than more time in the game.
Yes.
Kyle Phillips, DP, it looks good. It's all fun and games in training camp, and you get to the regular season and the dude's not on the field, right?
Right,
For
right.
whatever reason. Nick Westbrook, Akine, no. Get Traylon Burks is good. Get another receiver there. I like to pick a Cedric Tillman to Tennessee. Now, you've got probably 2 of the hottest names in this draft class, 2 running backs. They didn't go in round 1, and damn, DP, you got them going towards the back of round 2. Bijan Robinson at 56 to the Miami Dolphins. And then you have Jahmyr Gibbs going 59 to the Carolina Panthers. I mean, the Panthers just having a phenomenal draft, in my opinion. Bryce Young, Darnell Washington, and now Jahmyr Gibbs. Why so late on running backs that people are saying should be first rounders?
And I agree. I agree with those people. I would, because I'm the running back guy. I would love my guys to be in the first round. But I think back to just our position is a luxury. And I feel like I want to give teams the best chance of being the best version of themselves by addressing high priority needs early on. But I think back to last year, Ray, where we saw Kenneth Walker and Brees Hall come off the board in the second round after their respective teams had already added so much other talent at needed positions. Jets, cornerback, uh, you know, uh, pass rusher.
Pass
They
rusher,
did so
yep.
many different receiver with Garrett Wilson, and things like that. And you look at what Seattle did, getting Charles Cross and just continuously adding talent to where now, okay, we got a running back, and it's not like, oh man, like we still need we pass up a lot of talent on the board for a position that's essentially a luxury. So for me as a man, if I can put those guys in situations where they're still second round picks, but their teams got better, before they were selected. I feel like that's the best opportunity, not just for the team, but also for the prospects.
DP, I just got to tell you, man, your pick at 58 to the Cincinnati Bengals. When I say I love this fit of Dalton Kincaid to the Cincinnati Bengals, listen, Hayden Hurst has been solid this year, but he's 29, 30 years old. He's only on a 1-year deal. You get Joe Burrow and dynamic pass catcher like Dalton Kincaid, I think it unlocks even more for that Cincinnati Bengals offense. I think that's a fantastic pick. And the final one I want you to talk about, because I don't know much about him, but you have the Detroit Lions at 62 selecting Tucker Kraft, the tight end out of South Dakota State. We know they traded TJ Hawkinson away. Just give the people a little taste of Tucker Kraft, because I don't think a lot of people know who he is. Are we talking about a dynamic weapon? Are we talking about he's just a solid tight end? Is he a run blocker? Who is Tucker Kraft?
I think Tucker Kraft is a complete tight end. I think he blocks well from what I've seen on tape, but I do like his athletic profile. He can open that stride and he can move right. I think he changes directions well. He can work out of the slot, in line. He can do a lot of different things, and I feel like that was, regardless, like, yeah, they did. I don't think I gave him a quarterback in this draft. But the point is, like, you know what? You're going to have Jared Goff.
Yep.
And I think, shout out to our guy, Kyle Krabs, has always said, him and Joe talk about it, and I've kind of adopted the same mantra. Let's build a team ready for a QB, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's build a team ready for a quarterback. And I'm thinking about, man, whether it's Caleb Williams in 24, Drake May, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who knows? Spencer Rattler could come back out of the shadows. We don't know what will happen, but to look at a young quarterback taking over that offense that will have a good run game, a dominant offensive line, and throw into potentially Tucker Kraft as a second-year player with Jamison Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown. They probably bring DJ Chark back. I think that's a really good setup for a young QB.
I think you're right. Detroit's not a QB away yet. They still need some pieces. But if they build that thing up, you've got them, I'm burying something. You got to check the full mock out, but you got them going Jalen Carter early. Jalen Carter and Aiden Hutchinson. You bring more talent to that offensive side of the ball. You get a healthy J-Mo back. Next year will be a little rough, right? Goff is good enough to get you through next year, but then you draft a Caleb Williams, a Drake May, have them learn for a couple of weeks under Jared Goff. That's the blueprint right there. I love it, DP. We appreciate you jumping in the building with us today. Make sure you click the link in the description to check out DP's entire mock. Follow him on Twitter at DP_NFL. Engage with us, man. Remember, when we do these mock drafts, we are mocking based on what we think those prospective teams would do. Trust me, DP is going to give you his full ranks real soon. But for Damian Parson, Ray Garvin, and the Draft Network, we appreciate y'all tapping in. Enjoy the day. We're out. Peace.